Yes, here we are, Industry 45 Show, the best show in the world, according to me. Shane, Kristen Neal, Suzi Kory. Suzi Kory, how are you?
I'm fantastic.
And Chris.
How you doing?
Good, Chris. How are you?
Good.
You're looking good today.
Thank you so
His
much.
last name Fender. That's why you're wearing that jersey. So this is interesting because you and I have a history of so many things that are so cool. And you and I went to L.A. We'll talk about that. But I want to talk a little bit about, and you have a new single out. We'll talk to that. But I want to talk about your early influences because you're in the country space right now, if you will. But your early influences were not country music, right? So talk about growing up. What did you listen to? What shows were you going to see?
I mean, my first show was Guns N' Roses. And it was several years ago, but it was my first concert. I was 14. I had to beg my parents to let me go.
In Toronto?
Yeah. I spent 2 months crying until my parents finally gave in. And yeah, seriously. But, you know, it taught me that if you persevere just by using every tactic. Anyhow, I ended up going to the show. And for me, that changed a lot of things for me. It made me realize what I wanted to do in my life because I saw them and, you know, watching the band, but particularly Axl Rose was
okay, so what was it? Was it because he was on stage commanding 16,000 people and the energy you felt from that? Was it just...
Well, if you want to know, honestly, it was the bicycle shorts.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm kidding. It was his, you know, he just had this rawness to him and he gave it 150%.
Right.
You know, there was no holding back. And I would hear a lot that he didn't necessarily rehearse with the band. Because when he went out there, he just gave it everything, and there was no rehearsing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Was this after Appetite for Destruction then?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
it's when Use Your Illusion came out.
Okay, so, all right.
So I'm dating myself. But yeah, I saw them with Skid Row opening.
Wow.
And yeah, it was amazing.
And there's an interesting, well, it's not so much Skid Row, but we'll get to your producer of your new record who's playing with Sebastian Bach. But anyway. So that's your early influences. What else besides, but there's got to be more than Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I listened to Metallica, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Aerosmith.
So it was all rock.
It was all rock for the most part. Yeah. But, you know, then I realized that subliminally, my mother had been playing country all these years. And so I would always hear it around the house. I never imagined how it would actually influence me later on in my life, which it's done now. So, you know, working with Brent, who we're talking about, my producer, current producer, you know, when we were looking to find my own unique sound, who am I really? I realized the difference between the music that you like might not necessarily be the music that you should be performing.
Right, yeah.
So when I started to write songs that were more honest and not trying to be someone, the music that came out of me was more geared towards country than it was.
Well,
the rock
that's
stuff.
interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of found that with TV. I thought I was a TV celebrity until I saw myself on TV. No, radio's where it's at. Yeah. You cannot do TV. Okay, so you come from the. So talk about meeting Axl Rose. What's that? 2014?
Oh, come on! It was 20.
No,
it was 2015. 2015.
No,
1 year.
I think it's 2014. But okay, go ahead.
No, it was 2015 for sure. I have the proof because it was published in.
And you went there to meet him though, or you were just going to LA?
Yeah, my whole trip was just to go meet him, and you know, I remember telling friends that I was going to go and meet my idol, and that's all I wanted. It was my birthday, and my birthday gift to me was Axl. Little did Axl know, you know, at the time he was reclusive, and nobody had seen him for about a year and a half because he'd done that Vegas residency with, at the time, the Guns N' Roses that he had with not the current members. And so I flew out, found his address, drove up to Malibu.
So you're a stalker.
I think he's pretty lucky to have me as a stalker. So I was 2 minutes from the house.
And you went by yourself, or no?
I had someone in the car with me, a friend who also thought I was psychotic, but said, I'll go along anyways. This might be fun and amusing. And I think they were shocked when...
I want to get the video when you go to jail.
They want to have me on TMZ. But then there he was 2 minutes away from his house walking.
And you remember you had a photo with him. So what did you say to him? So you see Axl Rose and he's at this time, he was not in good shape then, right? I don't think...
Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, you're allowed to. Because now he is. He's really changed.
I want to perform with him one day. So I'm going to say he was in fantastic,
he looked fantastic
shape. And actually he was doing exercise. And unbeknownst to myself or anybody else, he was actually getting ready to get back with Guns N' Roses. So because it was only a couple of weeks later, they announced the reunion. That the band
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, and then I took credit for that, saying when I spoke to Axl, I said, Axl, it's
You
time.
were the reason this stalker who came from Canada.
Yeah, you need to get back with the guys, you know?
So what do you say to him? You see him the side of the road, because we went there, which we'll tell the story after, but
Yeah.
in Malibu, and there he is. And so what do you walk up to him and say what? Like,
Well, I was driving, and I remember seeing the back of him, and I saw a tattoo on the leg, and that's how I knew it was him, which is pretty scary.
he's
but
got his name on it, just an
No,
identification?
listen, you got to remember, as a 14, 15, 16-year-old, I had his posters everywhere. Like,
Right.
my whole bedroom was covered in Axl. And that sounds so wrong. But when I saw that tattoo, I was an expert in his whole body. And I knew it was him. And I was in shock for a second. And then I thought, okay, gather yourself together.
Get yourself together.
Yeah, figure out what you're going to say. I, drove up next to him, tried not to frighten him, because don't forget, this is like a secluded canyon. There wasn't many people around. He was with a lady friend. And I drove up to him and I said, listen, I don't want to bother you, but I've come all the way from Toronto. It's my birthday. And all I wanted was to see you and maybe have a picture. And he said, yeah, sure. Just drive up the road to my driveway. I thought he was going to invite me in. He didn't, but that's fine. We got a picture together. I chatted with him, told him what an inspiration he's been for me, and that I was, hopefully going to pursue music. And
because you weren't really pursuing music heavily at this time, correct?
I wasn't at all.
At all, okay.
No, I had just moved back from the Middle East. And
right.
Yeah, it was, it was that moment and meeting him and having this crazy idea to go meet, my biggest idol and making it happen, that when I came back to Toronto, it made me realize, you know what, you can come up with crazy ideas and realize them if you just follow through and you truly believe in it, and it's something that's meant to happen for you.
Right.
It will happen. And I think so that meeting of him was amazing, just to meet him, of course, and speak with him, but it signified so much more for me and really was the turning point in my own life.
So you come home, and then what happens? You decide, and I'm going to start a band, become a rock star?
Well, before all of that, a week after I'd come back, friends started texting me and saying, we're seeing you on social media and blabbermouth.com. And there was a publication in France that first broke it. So it appeared that this picture that I had put on my Facebook was picked up by all these agencies because nobody had seen Axl in about a year and a half.
Plus you tagged them all, right? So
no, I didn't. At that time, I didn't even know anything about social media. And I'm like, how can they take my personal picture? To me, it was kind of weird that these news agencies, and it was all over. It was in South America and London, and it was the first picture of Axl Rose in a year and a half. And it was kind of cool. I got my 15 minutes of fame with Axl. Yeah, and then, but after that, again, it was all this reflecting. It made me think about my own life and what this meant to be able to make something like that happen.
Right.
It opened up, so it changes your mind and your outlook and what's possible in your life.
So the first time I saw you perform, was it in Toronto, opening up for LA Guns?
Yeah,
was
at the Rock Pile.
At the Rock Pile. So how do we go from meeting Axl Rose, I want to become this, to playing Toronto's pretty big venue in essence, and LA Guns, which is not a small band.
And it was packed that night.
Right, I remember that. So how did you kind of just get from one place to the other? Take us through that couple of years.
Well, once I made the decision that I wanted to do this, I had never really had any formal training. So I didn't know if I could write songs. I didn't know if I could really sing. I was nervous, to get up in front of people and do that. I had to push myself. And I found out about, open jams around Toronto.
Right,
There's tons of them where you can, so you're not doing the karaoke thing. You're getting up with a real band. And I'd started out doing a song, then a song or two, and going to some jams. I got to know the musicians. This person would introduce me to that person. And I started to see the feedback was really positive from musicians, because it's hard for musicians to do open jams. They see all kinds of levels of, qualifications. So,
right, yeah.
Which is fine because they realize that. But then they were like, you know what, you got something. Like, we can see you're so comfortable on stage, which is odd for somebody who's not performed, and you can actually sing, which is something we don't always see. And I was like, okay. So, the more I saw of that, it actually helped me to get more comfortable and go, okay, I don't have to be perfect, but at least they see something that, these seasoned musicians are not telling you.
Is that how you found your band, through the open jams then? And,
partly.
Were you part of this? You weren't part of this then, no.
No.
We're going to get to you eventually.
It's okay. I've known Suzi for I guess a few months.
2 minutes?
2 minutes. I just met her on the side of the road. She's a stalker, right? She's
Exactly.
Picks him up. It's a very country thing to do. You just pick up musicians on the road.
Yeah, so now I've lost my train of thought.
Sorry, man.
No, that's okay. I don't even remember where I was going.
The band and where I found
yes,
them.
thank you. Where'd you find your band?
Well, I mean, at times, yes, through open jams, and other times it was just I'd go online and, these websites, Bandmix and so on, free plug. So one of the members I found, I saw him and I saw his video. He's the drummer and his name is Glarmy. I think you met him. Possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
He's just phenomenal. And I remember seeing his video. He blew me away. And I sent him a message saying, hey, I got a gig coming up. Do you want to be my drummer? And he said, yeah, sure, blah, 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 blah. Then we started working out the details. Now, I was 2 weeks away from the gig. And only later did he tell me he's actually in Brazil. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
You're positioned in Toronto. It says... And he goes, yeah, I'm coming to Toronto. I'm moving to Toronto. I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work.
How about the next week and a half? Can you be here?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't use him for that particular gig, but we ended up becoming friends. He did move to Toronto. I used him for several gigs. Not used him. That sounds awful.
Yeah. No, you used him. Drummers get used. Right, Joe?
You would know. But yeah, that was just another story where I found people online. And then one person.
And you're doing cover songs, obviously, right? Because you had not written songs at this point, or you had?
No, when I started, I didn't do many covers. I really kind of, I'm not a young spring chicken right now. And I had to make a decision. Was I going to go the cover route and be known as a cover band artist? Not that there's anything wrong with that. But because I made the decision that I wanted to do my own originals, I'm like, okay,
you just went all 100% in.
Yeah, I don't have time to build a reputation as someone who does covers. I've got to really focus on who am I as an artist and then sell that. And so I've really made an effort. I mean, I throw in a cover or two during my shows, but I don't go out and do covers.
Right, like you're not going to play a gig playing 30 cover songs.
No.
No, okay.
Even though, we were talking about this in the car, Chris and I, that's really how you hone your skills.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
It's a good way to do it, yeah.
Well, you're too old for that now. There's no more honing.
Thanks, Shane.
Yeah, you just got to go now. Okay, so what else? John-Angus MacDonald.
Yeah.
So you met him when? And how did you meet him? And you wrote songs together, too. Did you write an EP? You wrote an EP?
Well, yeah, I released an EP, and John-Angus produced it.
Produced it, right.
Yeah, what I did was, I remember, I started writing songs in the summer of 2016. And at the time, I'm going, okay, well, how am I going to find a producer? And I thought, well, think of your favorite Canadian local bands, because I got to think of someone here, and who produces them. So I started doing my research. I picked a few bands, one of them being the Glorious Sons. I'm still a huge fan.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah. And so I found out that he produced their early stuff and reached out to his manager, who was Larry at the time. God, I'm going to not forgive myself for forgetting his last name right now. And I emailed him, and then he didn't answer. And then I went to his offices, and I remember him going, "Who are you, and why are you here?" I said, "Because I sent you an email, and you didn't answer." He goes, "Really? Well, I would eventually answer." I said, "I know, but you took too long. It took a week." And I still didn't hear. And he just lied. He goes, "Get in my office." And I remember he put his feet on the table during the whole meeting. And with this guy's cocky, I love it. Yeah. And I said, listen, all I have, I don't play an instrument, but I sing. And I recorded these songs, just vocals. And I said, can you send them to John-Angus and see if he's interested in working with me? He did. And then John-Angus said, yeah, I'll work with her.
That's crazy, eh?
I know, right?
You never know unless you ask.
Well, that's it. Had I told anybody I'm going to do this, they'll be like, what are you, crazy? You don't even have music along. What do you mean raw vocals?
This was before you played the Rock Pile?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you play the Rock Pile, and then you go to LA again.
And played the Whisky A Go Go. And that's when you came.
I know. And this is a crazy story because I remember saying to Suzi, I'd really like to go. I really want to see. I'd never been to Hollywood, never been to the Sunset Strip. And she says, why don't you come? And I'm like, you don't just get up and go to LA. She's like, yeah, you do. She was make it happen. And I remember I kind of came up with a couple of excuses. And she said, listen, you want to come or not? Like, you need to go. I don't know why you just don't make it happen. Yeah. So I got Ron, who was the videographer for our show, TV show at the time. And I said, okay, if I can. And he agreed to go. And all of a sudden it was like, in 3 days, I was like, I guess I'm going to LA. It was just, that was crazy.
That's how life has to go, really.
And the funny thing is, I was hesitant at the time on the decision. And today, a couple years later, it's all I talk about. And the stories of being, and I was on the stage that you were on at the Whiskey, hosting this thing, which I, by the way, took Suzi's advice. She goes, I go, who's hosting it? She goes, I don't know, just go get the microphone and just start doing it. And I'm like, I can't. Yes, you can. So I go to the sound guy. I went to the sound guy. I go, I'm hosting the show. Okay, dude, no problem. I go, welcome, Whisky A Go Go. She's like, it's crazy, right? You never know unless you try it.
But that's what you got to do. I'll apologize later if I've done something wrong, but I'll take a chance and just do it.
And it was so awesome to see you so you go to LA and you don't have a band that's there, and you find a band, and we end up in some warehouse in some sketchy part of Los Angeles. I remember.
I think it was in Burbank.
It was it was Burbank or
Burbank-ish.
I was gonna say Radio City or something. It was called
Studio City.
Studio City. Yes,
You're
yes.
better than me. I
See?
remember these.
So I
things.
remember, I remember Suzi going, "Okay, just don't get out of your car alone over here." Anyway, we were at the rehearsals.
Yeah.
And I still talk to Sandra, by the way.
Right.
And that was.
And it's
here
not
you-
because she's a hot blonde or anything.
No,
right?
no, no.
Okay. She was my keyboard player.
Yeah. But that was a fun time, and you just kind of said, "Hey," and you were playing your own songs too. You played you played Guns N' Roses.
Yes. Yeah.
But
and I love the fact that I played Guns N' Roses on a show opening for LA Guns.
Yes, yes,
Apparently
that's
there's
right.
some bad blood
Yes,
between
yeah.
the two. But it was the 30th anniversary of Appetite for Destruction, the day we played the Whiskey.
Right,
So that was
right.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it was just, to me, it didn't.
was that the most memorable part? I mean, besides hanging out with me and such, but I mean, to play, because what a stage to play, and how many people have played there, right? And
Yeah.
that
I
was-
remember getting off that stage and going to a coffee shop nearby and sitting by myself. I had to, and just reflecting and going, holy crap.
Yeah.
I just played the Whisky A Go Go.
Yeah.
Like, that's, it's a
and,
place
and a big band's playing there, like LA Guns is playing. It's not like you're just playing there and
Yeah.
some no-name band and
Right.
like
Doors and Zeppelin and
Right.
you name it, and to stand on that stage and play it is just, it's amazing. And it was incredible.
So at the time, you're more of a rock artist,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so you, Igor, how do you say Igor's last name?
Vidyashev.
How do you say it?
Vidyashev.
Yeah, I don't say it. I say Igor. Who also came to LA with us, and he's amazing because not only is he an amazing photographer, but he knows everybody.
Yeah.
And he knows Brent Woods. We're getting
Yeah.
somewhere with the story very well. And he had his Brent Woods shirt on when we went to LA. I remember.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know Brent before we went, no, because he kept mentioning his name. You need to talk to Brent,
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
explain how that happened. And did he introduce you to him? And
Yeah, I have to actually thank Igor for everything that's happening right now because I'd hired him on to be my photographer.
Right.
I'd seen his stuff and it blows your mind. He's just one of the most incredible
Yeah.
rock photographers out there. And he's a friend of Niels Lausauer, who is the big
they
legendary.
just did a documentary on him. I watched it.
Yeah, it's amazing. He did all of the early, Aerosmith, Zeppelin,
Everything.
and he was like Van Halen's, official photographer. So I got to shoot in his studio in LA and do my first promo photos. But yeah, Igor was telling me, listen, I also have a friend out there. His name is Brent. I'm supposed to be doing a photo shoot with him. Why don't you reach out to him? And I did. And I said, hey, I'm,
Especially, right, so you had a good connection with Igor to do it. I'm
Yeah.
trying to find his...
And, so we just were friends at the time. I was already working with John-Angus here in Toronto, with the music side of things. But it wasn't until the fall when I decided I wanted to do some more recording and writing that I thought, hey, I know he produces a lot of stuff. And besides being an amazing guitarist, he's worked with like Vince Neil, with...
Right. Taylor Hawkins now.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he's in a band called Chevy Metal. But they're doing a lot of stuff now. I think it's Taylor Hawkins and the
Something,
Coattail Riders.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
He just played on, not Letterman. Or
No.
Letterman. What year am I in? Letterman.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
One of them.
and it was so cool because Taylor Hawkins fronts that band,
Yes.
and Dave Grohl got on the drums
Yeah, I
and
saw
played
that.
drums.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, that's
That's
just
crazy.
killer.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you meet Brent and...
Yeah, and I said, listen, here, listen to my songs, the rock stuff. I'd like to work with you. What do you think of this? Would you like to work together? And he heard and he went, yeah, I see potential there, and let's start working together. So I was really lucky. I reached out to SoCan. I really have to give big props to them because they've got
You
a
stayed at a
house.
SoCan house,
Yeah,
right?
They got a house in LA and they gave it to me for 2 weeks, free of charge.
Yeah.
And
you have connections in the airline industry, so you got there.
Let's keep that as a secret between you and I. So I got to LA, free housing, and then we spent 2 weeks. We didn't record anything. We just worked on finding a sound. He said, listen, just work on songwriting. He would give me tips. We talked a lot about music, the history of music. I learned so much in those couple of weeks. I did a lot of writing on my own, sitting and then when I came to Brent with the songs that ideas that I come up with, he kind of went, this ain't rock. This is country. And I was,
So that was your first realization that maybe...
It was his first realization
Okay.
that, what is she talking about? She ain't rock, she's country. So I remember fighting him on the idea and going, I'm not country. Like, I don't listen to country music, and I'm not in that kind of circles, you know, and I didn't want to come off as something not genuine, because with music,
It has to be genuine.
of course,
Right.
because people can see through BS, you know, and it had to be real. But then I started to realize it is real, and this is what I'm writing. And I remember him adding, you know, some pedal steel, and I'm like, I love this stuff.
So you guys are writing in LA now together? 'Cause-
Well, I come up with song ideas, send in my ideas. So now I'm proficient enough to write basic chords,
Right, yeah.
piano, along with my vocals. And, you know, I send him my ideas for songs, and like the recent one, Settle of the Dust, I had a lot of that pretty much, you know, the structure of the song done,
Right.
sent it to him, and he went, you know, yeah. And then he adds his own stuff. He'll lay down the bass guitar.
what advice
drum.
does he give you on songwriting? Does he ever say, you know what, I like this, but you need to stop, you know, you don't do this anymore, or you need to focus on these type of things, or what does he say to you?
You're going to love this one. So his first and most important piece of advice he gave me, stop saying I in every song, because I was trying to be Axl Rose.
Axl Rose.
He said, please stop the I at the end. You know, if you heard the earlier rock stuff, there was a lot of I.
Yeah.
So I've stopped that. And yeah, you know, he's really talked to me about finding the hook and finding the groove. It doesn't
Right.
always have to be in the vocals. It could be with the guitar.
Guitar, right.
Yeah, and that's what I've
And when
learned
you play
from
with
him.
Sebastian Bach and you play with Taylor and Vince Neil, there's a lot of hooks in all those songs.
Yeah, and he
really.
works-
And sometimes it's melody, sometimes it's guitar.
Right.
Yeah, it could
And,
be
you know,
anything.
he's worked with Kiss as well. and
Yeah.
I had a funny Kiss story. I was telling Chris in the car. So I'm at Brent's house, and we're recording one of the songs, and his friend calls him up and says, hey, can I pass by for a bit? And so Brent says, well, I'm working with this girl from Canada. Let me just see if she's okay with it. He goes, hey, is it okay if my friend comes over? Sure, why not? His friend comes over, sits with us. We chat, we laugh, we cry. He leaves. And then Brent goes, so you know who that is, right? And I said, yeah, it's your friend Eric. You introduced me.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, like, you know who he is. I said, well, other than being your friend, I don't know. No, I don't know who he is. And he said, well, he plays in the band. You might know them, Kiss.
Was Eric
So,
Singer?
It was Eric Singer.
Yeah.
They're really close friends.
Well,
so
that's cool.
I'm just name dropping left, right, and
That's
center
okay.
here.
I met Eric Singer. Does that count?
Suzi.
Oh, wow.
Does that count? So let's talk about Love Revolution, which will be your EP.
Yes.
And you released a couple of songs, your latest, Settle the Dust. So talk about that a little bit.
So that's my first love song. Like, I've never really written, you know, I know in country especially, a lot of songs evolve around relationships.
Trucks, dogs, ex-wives.
And I didn't want to go there unless it was coming from a genuine place. And, you know, it's a true story about falling for a musician and what it's like, and knowing too much about their lives because you're kind of
You
friends
just
with
met Chris 2 weeks or 2 months ago. I mean, gee, sorry.
Moving too fast, Susie.
Yeah, Chris.
Clearly it's not
well,
you.
I figured, you know, why tell you in the car when I could tell you right here live on the radio?
There you go.
You know, but yeah, the kind of lifestyle that they lead. And although, you know, it was kind of written about a specific person, but you think it's so general to a lot of women who are in love with musicians or vice versa. I don't know
Right,
about, you know,
yeah.
men who are involved with women who are in music. It's a very difficult thing because it's unlike anything else.
I used
you know?
to want to be involved with Lita Ford, but that was many years ago. I'm just saying.
But yeah, you know, because there's a lot of temptation and what's out there on the road, and what somebody it becomes their norm.
Right.
And that's what their life is. And, you know, I remember talking to a lot of musicians and kind of seeing how sometimes they long for a relationship and having that real love, but at the same time, it's just so far removed from the life that they actually
Right,
live.
exactly, yeah.
That they kind of, you don't know what it is to love like that. And so that's what the song speaks to, that kind of unrequited love. That wasn't even a word. Unrequited love.
Something like
it's
that.
one-sided. Yeah. And, you know, the one person who's kind of hoping, wishing that this
Right.
person is going to change, but, you know,
A lot of women wish I would change. It's not going to happen, though.
and possibly some men, you know?
Yeah, you never know. So you got 3 songs out off this EP? Or
Yes.
4? 3.
3.
But you have 3 more left?
I have 3 to go.
Okay, so
All
you're releasing
set.
one at a time.
Yeah. You know, that's all people can take. I
Right,
think.
yeah. Well, that's the way the world is today. And people can find them, SuziKory.com.
That's right.
Anywhere else? Are they on Spotify?
On all
like
the
all that
streaming
stuff?
services. Yeah.
And you got any gigs coming up? Or
Quite possibly, yeah. A really cool one that is kind of female,
Right.
you know, with female artists, and it's something called Girl Talk. It's at the Moonshine Cafe in Oakville.
Yes, with David Woods. David Woods?
It's not David Woods who runs it, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a couple of other female country singers.
I can see he posts stuff about that place.
Yeah, he basically lives there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought he owned the place.
Now, having said that, Dave Woods is amazing, and I do have to give...
And you played a showcase for him, or no, not yet?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw a poster that came out.
Yeah.
So I know what's going on.
Yeah, I've done a couple for him, and it's an amazing thing. I remember doing it first thing in the spring last year of 2019. It was my first time doing it. First of all, I was nervous as hell because it was my first real kind of country thing, acoustic. One thing I learned is rock, you can get away with a lot. There's a lot of loud, instruments around you.
Overtones and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
With the country, and especially if you're doing an acoustic gig, I really had to get accustomed to that because it's different. There's a lot more focus on the vocals and telling the story.
And the story, exactly.
Yeah. And so for me, I was really nervous at the time, tried not to look so nervous. I usually make up for it with humor and stuff, and it works. But yeah, it was an incredible experience. I remember saying to Dave, you know what? Thank you. Because
he's Superman. He is somebody who so supports the country genre.
Well, that's it. It's not just for me personally, but what he does for country overall.
Right.
It's incredible to have people like that who are, very giving us the opportunities to be able to showcase the music.
So one final question, and then we'll get to a song in that. Nashville. Uh-huh. Are you going to Nashville? Have you gone to Nashville? I can't remember if you told me you went.
I did a road trip this summer.
Okay, that's what it was. I remember you said something. Okay, so then that was for what?
My own purposes. I'd gone the year before, but I was there for a day, got sick and flew right back. I saw nothing. So I decided to go again. I did a road trip and stayed there for about a week. And I just went to songwriter nights and, I wanted to see what was going on there. And, how can you not do country, or how can you do country and not
go to Nashville?
Right? Yeah. And, for me, it was an eye opener, and just seeing the talent, it blows my mind.
Right.
And but it was funny because out of this whole trip, I ended up befriending someone who's actually the bass player in Exodus, and he's this awesome guy, Jack Gibson.
Okay.
But I just thought it was funny. I go to Nashville, for country, and I meet
metal.
But he didn't even tell me who he was because we sat and we talked for about 4 hours. Philip Schaus, who is the guitarist for, Gene Simmons. He travels with. I don't know if you see. Well, it was his birthday, so I went to his birthday. And I meet Jack there. I'm sitting at the table with him. We talk for 4 hours. And he tells me, he likes country music and more of the older stuff and outlaw kind of country. So we had great conversations about that, and then decided we're going to go to the Country Music Hall of Fame because he's going to tell me about all the background of country music. And then at the end of it, he kind of tells me, I said, well, are you a musician? Yeah, I'm a bass player. So what kind of music do you do? And he goes, this thrash metal, hard. I'm like,
thrash stuff.
Well, I'm looking at him going, you don't look like you play that, but okay. And then afterwards, I only realized who he was. I'm like, oh boy, wow.
You really are Forrest Gump. Like you find yourself, you keep meeting famous people you don't even realize.
She's a stalker. Yeah. Okay, so Chris, talk about yourself. You got 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then you guys can play a song.
Sure. I play in the country scene, and that's how I met Suzi. So she knows a lot of friends I know. We kind of
from Toronto.
Yeah. Okay, I grew up in Brampton, and I kind of started off similar to Suzi, and I still love that stuff, but rock, metal, pop punk, that kind of stuff, instrumental, everything guitar. That was sweet. So then I kind of branched off into country through that, just being I love the sound of chicken picking, and I wanted to learn how to do that. So and kind of branched out there. So I've been kind of playing in the country scene for probably the past.
So you played with Suzi for how long?
This is literally the first time I played with Suzi.
Okay, well there you go.
But the cool thing about the country scene, if I could touch on it really quickly, is that a little bit different from the rock scene, is although a lot of times you got the artists, like your Luke Bryan, your Shania Twain, and you got the backing band. The cool
Suzi Kory.
Yeah, or Suzi Kory, of course. A lot of times, a lot of the musicians, they're kind of interchangeable in a sense, right? So a lot of them will be able to, if someone can't make it, there's a lot of people who are competent to kind of take that place.
Yeah, because like when you play in Bon Jovi, like you play in Bon Jovi. Like you're not playing in Bon Jovi saying, you know, tomorrow I'm going to go play with Metallica.
And
maybe.
so that's
like,
kind of a cool thing of it. And obviously, like it's good having your key guys and stuff, but it's nice to in case something.
But that's country all over. Like even in Nashville at a higher level, I see people step in certain artists or whatnot because it's just that kind of incestual pool of people.
That's what I was going to say. It's very incestuous.
Yeah. So is that all you want to see? You got the floor. So anything else?
Oh no, but I was just gonna say. So I met Suzi. I think the first time we met was at that event, the Purple Hill event.
Yeah.
Right?
Or no, before that.
Really?
At the Night Owl.
Oh yeah, the Night Owl. But anyway, so other than that, that's
disappointing. He doesn't remember our first meeting.
Sorry. Well, there was booze
eating...
involved,
right? I mean,
free Jack Daniel shots. Yes. That's all. That was the only reason I was there. Really.
Well, and they had like this midnight barbecue, which is I'd never heard of this. It's so cool at these country shows.
Yeah.
At midnight, they'll like drop barbecue, free food, and I remember eating, and I was looking for a fork, and I looked at him like, "You got a fork?" You know, we didn't say anything. I just looked at him like, and he kind of.
Oh yeah, wasn't I just being a pig? I was just like.
Yeah, he was
whatever.
eating with his hands. So.
When I was looking at my phone, what I wanted to do, and I don't want to forget this, Igor. Rock Exposure, is that what he is on Twitter?
Yes.
Or not on Twitter, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to get that in there because you got to follow him because he's awesome. Cool.
He is.
Yes. A lot of great photos. So, you going to play a song? What song are you
let's
going to
play
play?
a song.
We get with that, producer? All right, producer doesn't want to talk now. He was coughing halfway through the thing. People know you're here now. So, we're just going to get, what are you going to play?
The Secret Garden?
Let's do it.
All right. Suzi Kory and The Secret Garden, Giant TV, Industry 45, featuring Chris.
Welcome to the Secret Garden. Sit yourself right down, where the love is overwhelming, but the feeling's safe and sound. Trust your basic instinct and free yourself of thought. Now doubt cannot invade you or the peace you fiercely sought.
Space is open.
You try,
seek the guidance
to fight.
Let the love inside.
The demons control your mindless view.
Space is open.
In time,
seek the guidance.
You'll find.
Let the love inside.
Surrender your soul and let love rule. Welcome to the Secret Garden. Allow me to guide you through. In the paths of deconstruction, foundations laid on you. Find yourself in freedom of body, soul, and mind, conforming to the confines, neglected far behind.
Space is open.
You try.
The guidance
to fight.
Let the love inside.
The demons control your mindless view.
Space is open wide.
In time,
seek the guidance.
You'll find.
Let the love inside.
Surrender your soul and let love rule. Just pour your soul out. I'm here for you now. Oh, please tell me you try to fight.
Let the love inside.
The demons control
Let the love inside.
Surrender your soul and let love.
Space is open wide. Seek the guiding light. Let the love inside.
Let love rule.
Space is open wide.
Entire.
Seek the guiding light.
You'll find.
Let the love inside.
Surrender your soul and let love rule.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was really
I gave
good.
myself my own thumbs up here on my video.
Yeah, that was awesome. And like Chris sings that your voices go so well together.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Like
all
seriously,
Chris.
like it's
Thank
like
you.
wow. I was like, for somebody who's met her 2 minutes ago or something like that.
Yeah, I just met her on the side of the road.
The funny thing is, we have not ever
crazy.
played, nor
No,
did we
no.
rehearse. Like, we got here, we're like,
Well, we should probably rip a tune quick.
Yeah. Well, you got serious talent too, man.
Thank you, man.
he's awesome.
SuziKory.com is the website, so you can check it all out there. And
Yes.
there we go. One of my favorite people ever, Suzi Kory. And Chris, he's okay too.
Thanks.
Industry 45 podcast show, gianttv.ca. A quick saying hello and thank you to the Maysides because they have the intro music to the show. And they're
Ooh,
absolutely
I know
awesome
that.
band from Niagara. Yeah, very good people. So there you go. Thanks.
Thank you. Yay!
Yay! Nice job.